Hey guys, and welcome back to another iContrast video. Today I'm bringing you round 8 of this Austrian Grand Prix in ASR, also known as the PlayStation Racing League, and I'm definitely pumped for it as it's one of my strongest tracks. Starting our qualifying lap now, then through turn 1 we hit it pretty well, heading up the hill now through turn 2, which is barely a turn even because you're flat out through it, and then into turn 3, which is this hairpin going into the right hander, going purple might I add, so that's really good signs as we get a clean exit, open up the DRS a little bit late than under the Pirelli sign, heading down the hill now, going into this long right hander, which is pretty difficult to get right. You got to make sure you hit the braking zone perfectly, clip that inside curb, and you should get a pretty good run out of that corner. There's not much to this track, it's a very short lap time, so I expect qualifying to be really close between everyone. And once again, it's very hard to get this turning correct, as you don't want to run too wide or cut it too early, as it'll compromise your run through the second left-hander. Going purple once again, I'm not sure how long it'll last for though. It's just important now that I nail the last part of this circuit being Sector 3, and you might be wondering why I'm running the racing line. Now, I thought I might experiment and see how much time I've actually been losing from not running the racing line when everybody else has, and see how much I improve compared to the rest of the field. So I placed 4th for now. Hopefully I stay there and then improve my lap time later on in the qualifying session. But yeah, overall not a bad lap that was, but I'll definitely be looking to improve later on. But as you can see, the rain has started to come down now as I was going out on my last run, and it's absolutely took me out of the running of improving my lap time. So I was doing 1 minute 6.2s, or on one of my best runs I almost did a 1 minute 6 flat. So yeah, there's potential for me to be on pole if I actually put the lap together, but that would require the front runners to have a pretty average lap time as well. But nobody's going to improve from now on, as it's absolutely bucketing down and I'm pretty much abandoning this lap as well. As you can see, there's a Renault off the track there and another McLaren that's beached onto the side there. So yeah, definitely no way to improve here, so I'm just gonna retire as soon as I go past turn 1. As you can see, I was just losing the back end there, so definitely no more point in continuing, and it looks like P4 will be secured for us as nobody else is going to improve either, and we'll try and head back onto the grid for the race now. Maznat secures pole, one of his strongest tracks, ahead of James H and Sir LJB and myself, and Denny Rick running up the top 5 right behind me. So hopefully we can get a good start. I'll be starting on the inside of turn 1, so hopefully we can slide up the inside of Sir LJB, maybe gain a place or two, see what happens in front of us. I also think we have both of the Red Bulls behind us, so they might get a bit feisty between the teammates. But 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. We're off to an alright start, but not really gaining anything to the cars in front of us. But we're going to go up the inside now, and I broke way too late for that. And I've gone into the back of James H and wiped out LJB, so that's been an absolute disaster. My apologies to both of those guys, I really didn't mean that. If I was starting in front, that would have been probably an appropriate braking zone, but seeing as the Cosentino effect happened, I definitely should have broken a bit earlier before my brake marker, and I unfortunately caused a bit of an accident there. But I've been disadvantaged myself by losing my front wing, and that's pretty much ruined my race already. Not going to really try to fight anyone for position right now, as I've ran wide there once again. Just the front wing causing so much understeer. I have no choice but to pit for this lap, and hopefully we can work our way back up the field. Maybe there might be a safety car that would really save our bacon if there was one. But it looks like Wimpernone on the soft tires going up the inside of Ante through that left-hander, but doesn't manage to make the move stick. I got Sir LJB, the person I accidentally took out in turn 1, right behind me, so he'll be trying to get past me as soon as possible. I've just let him through because I got to go into the pits right away to change my front wing, and hopefully we can crack on onwards and upwards from then on, and stopping nice and early so I don't turn my bad race into an even worse one, getting a stop-go penalty for speeding through the pit lane. Turning in now to be serviced by the pit crew, and as you can see, no front wing change. Brilliant. You know, it's one of those races that just goes from bad to worse really quick, and then you think you can start to make it better, and then it just takes like another dump on you. It's like one of those. But there's no point in complaining about it. It's like completely my own fault for not switching the front wing to being changed rather than having it on auto, like switching it to yes. But it was my complete fault to get my front wing damaged in the first place by crashing into James H in turn 1. Not to bring out the excuses, but I was on the dirty side of the track, and there was the Cosentino effect, and the brakes were cold, but completely my fault. I'd be happy if I copped a penalty, because I totally deserved it, but onwards and upwards, I guess, and we'll try and make an impact on the next race rather than this one. Hopefully, I don't think we'll be able to scavenge any points in this race now. I'm coming last, 14th out of 14, and there's not much I can actually do from this position. Unless the safety car comes out, we might have a chance. And it's a real shame because I came first in a league race I had on the day before this, and I was looking really strong at this circuit too. The qualifying pace might not have been the best on the grid, but certainly the race pace was well and truly up there, managing to beat Wimpinator in a race in another league, not this one. But yeah, I was definitely right on the money there. But everyone makes mistakes, and hopefully we don't make many more during the rest of the season. But let's crack on with the rest of this race now. Our tyres are absolutely destroyed at this point, so we're definitely going to make another pit stop. But what I have managed to do is make these super softs last to a period where I can switch on to the ultras and hopefully make an indentation as to catching up to the guys ahead of me, who would all be on the softer worn tyres. I know that I'm in P9 at the moment, but that's just because I haven't made my pit stop yet, which I'm about to right now. And hopefully we don't get done for speeding in the pit lane as well, and we gonna brake as late as possible. And once again, we make a clean entry into the pit lane, and now we are in P11, and we have a lot of work cut out for us. Making our last pit stop, hopefully onto the ultra soft tires, and we should be able to bang out the fastest lap of the race, most definitely, with our pace along with the super soft tires at this point in the race. Having low fuel load and brand new tires definitely going to be really fast for the end of the race. Back in 14th as we exit the pits, and we have John Dog right in front of us now on the soft tires, probably really worn at this point as well, as there's only about 11 laps to go, and we're catching up to him at a right rate of knots. Even though I got a faster compounded tire, he has worn tires as well, so that just really compounds the issue. And under the Pirelli sign into turn 2, or turn 3 also known as. But once again, we're going purple, making sure we make the full use of these ultra soft tires, and hopefully we set the fastest lap of the race. That's the plan. I don't think we're going to achieve much more than getting the fastest lap of the race. Braking as late as possible into the right hander. Make sure you avoid that exit curb, or you could spin into the wall on your right hand side. And then you want to take a nice wide entry, hitting the apex pretty late, and then getting a nice drive out of that corner, which sets you up for the left-hander that you take almost at full pace. Going purple once again under the F1 2017 sign, heading down the hill into this fast double right-hander, and once again we're going really wide before hitting that apex, and that is going to be the fastest lap of the race surely on the ultra soft tires with the low fuel load. And there we go, fastest lap of the race. So not much more I can do, I think, apart from maybe catching the Hairy Tomato, which is in 12th position on lap 28 now. We've actually gotten into a fairly close distance of the Hairy Tomato now, as he is seeming to go a bit slow. I think he pit roughly around the same time as me, maybe a couple of laps earlier, so I will have the tyre wear advantage over him. Once again, coming down the hill into the double right-hander. Hopefully we can make a move on him sooner rather than later, and I know it's not for points, but it's definitely for pride. Opening up the DRS now, hopefully we get a better advantage. I think I got some fuel to burn as well. But with the low front wing setup I'm running around this track, there is definitely no substitute for straight line speed. And now getting in the slipstream of the Hairy Tomato, hopefully it's going to be somewhat simple of a move, going to the inside of turn 2 that turns into turn 3, which is the actual hairpin, making the move nice and simple, braking a little bit early, making sure I don't bump into him on the exit of that hairpin. Opening up the DRS once again, another Pirelli sign, and there we go into P11 now with Jeff on the super soft tires, and hopefully we can catch him later on in the race. I don't think I can, even though he's a fair distance ahead of me. I'll try, but that's the best I can do. Trying to keep it as clean as possible, setting the fastest laps I can on the ultra soft tires, and with 3 laps to go, I'm actually in sight of Jeff, which is the first points paying position, being 10th. And that is certainly something to be fighting for, so I'll definitely be on the charge. If I'm going to make this race worth anything at all, I'm definitely going to go for the points as much as possible. Under the Pirelli sign, braking as late as possible. Jeff brakes a lot harder than I do apparently, as he locks up going into that right hander. Under the Rolex sign, going nice and wide before turning in and hitting the apex, but it seems that Jeff has gotten a better exit than us and he's gained a little bit of an advantage there, but he didn't really hit the apex of this second left-hander, and that's allowed us to get right onto the back of him now, and we will have DRS going down the pit straight and the back straight as well. So hopefully we can make a move going into maybe turn 3, which is the right-hander hairpin. I don't think it's a viable move going into turn 1 where I actually binned it on the first lap of the race, but with 2 laps to go, I actually got really spooked there from Jeff's lag spike, so I really want to try and overtake him as soon as possible before I lose my front wing on his lag car, and hopefully we can jump into the slipstream and try to overtake him or pull alongside him with that greater top speed and the lower downforce I think I'm running compared to him. And he gets really taily coming out of the hairpin there into his slipstream now, getting really close on his outside for the next turn. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull it off, but I'm going to go around the outside now, as he initially leaves us enough room, but then he pushes us off the circuit, which it was pretty rude on his behalf, I'm not going to lie. But now we've got our work cut out for us if we're going to overtake him once again. If I was him, I would have, returned the position, because I was in front of him going around the outside when we reached that corner. But yeah, he just forced me off the track, and I'm pretty sure you can't do that. But if he has a penalty, all I got to do is stay behind him within 3 seconds, and I'll have his position anyways, and I won't kick up a stink about it. But yeah, it wasn't a very nice thing to do, unless it was lag. It could have been entirely lag, I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully we can steal that position back off him if he has a penalty. I'm not 100% sure if he does, but we're just going to try and keep it clean, and I'll try and stay away from his lag car if I can't actually catch him, and then that way we can hopefully get 10th position, which is at least 1 point to our championship fight for this Grand Prix. And now with my tyres as worn as they are, my advantage has really dropped off now. I don't have much of an advantage to Jeff, as he's on the harder compound tyres, and all I got to do is stay right behind him and try and keep it clean. If he does have a penalty, hitting that apex nicely, it's actually really easy to hit the sausage curb and then run wide going through that last corner there. So hit that nicely, only have to hit it one more time at the end of this lap, and hopefully we don't get a penalty ourselves, because if that happened, then we wouldn't be able to snatch 10th place if Jeff has a penalty as well. So we definitely got to keep it clean, make sure we don't make any mistakes ourselves, as Jeff gets taily once again, and I was like really trying to get onto the back of him as much as possible here, because at this stage I didn't believe he had a penalty, and I was pushing as hard as I can to close onto the back of him. As you can see, I've really gotten onto the back of him right now, but at this stage I didn't think I had enough to catch him and overtake him, as the opportunities to overtake him were pretty much gone now, unless he made a mistake, which he actually does, and he runs off the track. I actually get really spooked out. I thought he was going to hit me and lose control of his car, but he managed to regather, and I had to brake, or else I was going to run up the back of him. And I think he's going to maintain that position unless he has a penalty. And we kept it clean. Make sure we hit that last apex nicely. And it looks like that's going to conclude the Austrian Grand Prix that James has actually won. And it does look like Jeff had a penalty as we move up into 10th place behind Waffles and Bits. And I think that's the best we could have done in the situation we were in. And yeah, James on top of the podium with Wimpinator and Maznat rounding up the top 3. So it definitely looks like James H has found a bit of form to be back on top of that podium with Wimpinator and Maznat. Definitely the championship rivals. And I think at this stage Wimpinator has a bit of a lead compared to James and Maznat, who I think Maznat's in 2nd place in the championship at the moment. But who knows who could round out this championship towards the end of the season. There's still a fair way to go. Hopefully it's exciting until the last race, and maybe it might not be decided until the last race if Wimpinator has a bit of bad luck, which happens to all of us. And lucky enough, we round up the top 10 with Waffles and Bits and CLGB managing to score points too, after I kind of ruined his race, and V-Finger's doing well to start from the back of the grid, ending up in 4th place, managing to avoid the trouble. But that's going to wrap up this episode of the ASR Championship. Hopefully you liked it. If you feel this video deserves it, leave a like, subscribe for more and new content, and I'll see you all in a brand new one.